Paratroopers from Fort Bragg, North Carolina, double up on firepower during a joint exercise in the hills of Fort Carson, Colorado. Soldiers from 1st Battalion, 505th Parachute Infantry Regiment, 3rd Brigade Combat Team, 82nd Airborne Division met with soldiers of 1st Battalion, 68th Armor Regiment, 3rd Armor Brigade Combat Team, 4th Infantry Division. Both groups lend their talents to the Global Response Force, or GRF, which moves troops all over the world in a short time. The planning and coordination for this joint exercise, driven by 3rd Brigade Combat Team, involved numerous internal and external agencies, including Joint Task Force Carson units, civilian support agencies, and the Air Force. Soldiers prepare for scenarios that will use infantry and armor assets to accomplish the Joint Deployment Readiness Exercise. Below zero temperatures greet soldiers on both sides during the 4-day exercise. GRF missions can send soldiers to unfamiliar locations worldwide, which heightened the realism of the training.
You never know where the GRF is going to get called up. I know there are places in Afghanistan that get snow and temperatures like this, so it's very viable that we could be fighting in conditions like this.
Soldiers on both sides work to understand and utilize each other's strengths and weaknesses.
It gives you an idea of like how everybody's going to be operating, and if you needed to, then you could join forces. You could actually work together and know what the capabilities are and what light infantry can do and what mechanized can do for each other.
Marching to objectives and recon all come into play during the training. Working together helps soldiers fight better and overcome stereotypes.
Really what we're trying to do is better integrate our GRF forces. We're integrating with 4th ID. You get the mentality sometimes in the infantry that like if they're not with you, they're against you, and we want to squash that real quick. We work with everybody. We're all one team, so the ability to work with a bunch of different programs and different guys, that's a great asset to have.
Soldiers work day and night, communicating battle plans and integrating tactics into the fight. Leaders on both sides discuss battle plans while giving recommendations to their peers. Surprise attacks keep both sides focused. Airborne soldiers react to contact from traditional infantry tactics, but soon meet with opposing mechanized infantry.
Pull your cap.
Controllers keep soldiers on their toes, forcing quick decisions to be made. M1A1 Abrams tanks play friend and foe as armor enters the battle. One main aspect of the Joint Deployment Readiness Exercise sees armor elements able to react and overtake enemy forces that threaten the 82nd soldiers. Bradley fighting vehicles, which lack the firepower or armor of their tank counterparts, help balance the odds, which several soldiers take to heart.
Without a Bradley, pretty much the battlefield is just man to tank, and man never wins against a tank.
Fort Carson soldiers share a fundamental lesson about using tanks.
As soon as a tank shows up, fuel usage goes through the roof, and just the amount of support that that a unit needs to anticipate when Abrams tanks show up on the battlefield is humongous. That's probably the biggest thing for both us to learn to relate to them, to give them head warning, and for them to anticipate and request ahead of time.
Pushing back the enemy forces sees the two sides coming together and creating a stronger and more versatile global response force, fulfilling the goals of the Joint Deployment Readiness Exercise. Sergeant Toby Wall, Fort Carson, Colorado.
In deck.